Welcome to another Bay Area Home Hustle podcast. I'm Parm.
Mike here.
So today we're going to talk about a specific transaction and what happens in a transaction. So like when you looking for a home, you find the perfect home, you have your agent, the agent submits an offer, it gets accepted. I felt it was important for us to kind of go through the details as to what happens, because sometimes you have agents that are very meticulous through the process. They'll let you know what's going to happen. They're more proactive. But sometimes you get agents that are more reactive, right? They tell you when things happen or when you need to know. So I think this video is going to a little bit prepare you for what will happen throughout the whole transaction and what to expect. So we're going to role play a little bit. I'm going to act as the seller, and Mike here's
buyer here.
He's going to act as the buyer. So let's get into it. So day zero.
Okay.
Go ahead. You want to?
We go back and forth,
Yep.
right? So you send in an offer.
I
sent an offer.
Yes.
You received it.
Yep.
You like it.
Yes.
You send it back to me, sign.
Yes.
Okay. And I say, okay, I sign it, send it back to you, and then we have a contract.
That's right. So yeah, so you submit it, we accept it, we communicate it back to you, we let you know like, hey, congratulations, your offer has been accepted. We have a pre-escrow that's already open with the escrow company, and as soon as we communicate it to you, I would fire off an email copying everybody on it. That would include buyer's lender, the buyer's agent, escrow officer, and any pertinent like transaction coordinators in the file so that the process can begin. So that's day zero. Okay?
Communication is very important.
Communication is very, very important. And we're going to take some assumptions into this transaction. We're going to say that let's say this is a 25-day close transaction.
Okay.
And we have 3 days for EMD, we have 10 days for inspection, and we have 15 days for both loan and appraisal. So those are the periods, and you'll see the timeline on the right-hand side.
That is the agreed timeline. So it changes, of course. It all depends on the buyer and seller's agreement.
Right. So it's contractual, right? So that's what the contract states. So we're going to take that assumption into the fact now. So day zero is done. We accept it. Everybody's notified. Now, what's next that's going to happen?
So day one, day two, day three, you have 3 days to put all your finances together and send it to what they call earnest money deposit, to the escrow company that we've decided on, right? So what happens is you have two choices. According to the contract, you either wire your money or you write a check, hand it to your agent, and your agent takes it over to escrow.
That's right. So yeah, that fund could be personal check or wire, of course, 100%. So in that 3 days, that EMD has to be there. If, however, as a seller, if I don't see a EMD, or as my agent doesn't see an EMD from the buyer's side, then that's sort of, it's a concern for to be,
It's the Parm's agent will start calling my agent and say, hey, what's going on?
Yeah.
Right?
Are they
Money's
serious?
not in escrow.
Right. So a lot of things, and I want to tell you guys something too. A lot of times, we get into transactions, agents think that, you're in contract and the buyer side is not sending in a deposit. Well, they might be cold feet at that point too, right? And sometimes they can back out. I mean, you do have a legal course to go after them. You could say, oh yeah, I'm going to come after you for due cause because we were in contract. But if there were no money exchanged in escrow, it's just going to be a waste of time. End of the day, it's going to be your waste of time. Both seller and buyer's waste of time, to be honest with you.
It also shows that
the
agent representing their client, doesn't have a hands-on. It should be day one already reminding the client that, hey, Mr. Buyer, you need to put the money in there.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. So just remember that too, right? So if as a seller you don't see the deposit within 3 days, the likelihood of this transaction going forward is going to be very remote. Yeah, they're not serious, and it's just a waste of time. So be aware of that as well. So day 3 happened. Let's assume day 3 happened. Transaction came in. Money came in.
Money went into escrow.
Perfect.
So that's 3 days already, right?
Perfect.
We have 25 days to close.
Yes.
So what happens from day 3 to day 15? All right.
Day 10, actually.
Oh, I'm sorry. Day 10.
Because we got to do inspections.
That's right. Day 10.
But before that, so remember, now from day 0 to day 3, the buyer's lender, on the other hand,
started
working
right
on the file. That means they're pushing the file from pre-approval to maybe direct underwriting approval to actual underwriting. So they're submitting the file back on. If they need any conditions that need to be met for the buyers, maybe updated pay stubs or whatever have you, that needs to be all submitted in so they can order an appraisal at the same time as well.
Right.
Remember,
So that's why finding a loan officer or a loan broker that is capable is very important. And we've talked about getting somebody locally that understands the local market, right? So there's three parties involved when you talk about loans.
Yep.
You got your lender, your agent, and your, of course, the client.
Yes.
Has to all be on board at the same time. They need
Working
to know
together.
what's going on. Because sometimes if there's a glitch or something that's missing, it's the buyer's agent's duty to contact the seller's agent and says, we might, there might be some glitches down the road. I'm just giving you a heads up.
Right.
Not that we won't close on time,
Yeah.
but we might need a little time. Just giving you an idea.
Right. And remember, real estate, there is no perfect transaction. Sometimes we'll say it's going to close in 25 days, but things will happen. You might have a holiday, or something might happen in the family, or maybe you can't get your funds over because it was in a different institution or something. All these things happen. So there's no perfect transaction. And sometimes it can close earlier. Sometimes everything works out perfectly and you can close under 25 days, right?
Right.
So just remember that too. So, okay, so going back, so day 3 already happened. Let's now talk about from day 3 to day 10, which
Right.
is inspection period. And what do you do at that point, Mike?
So I'm supposed to have my agent make calls, get in home inspection.
Mhm.
Now, there's something that you might have in your contract that you might skip the home inspection because the seller already did that.
Because we maybe did it.
And home inspections could run to about $1,000. Depends on what you do. Roof,
Maybe more,
yeah, roof, structural, all that stuff.
about 1,500.
So if there is money that you could save as
Yeah.
a buyer, and the inspection is what you're going to go with from the seller, then you already save time on the inspection. So you just have to work on the appraisal, which is going to be decided and scheduled by the lender.
Right. So yeah, so 3 inspections that you just talked about. But if you're like on the buyer side, if you're tight on budget, I don't want to talk too much on the buyer side to confuse the things. But if you are tight on budget, I mean, you consider that too. But but if you see something that's flagged in the inspection, then you probably want to get a re-inspection.
Right. And then if just say that, for example, there is dry rot in the seller's inspection report, then you might want to do your own too.
100%. Perfect. Yep. So let's assume that everything goes smoothly. Whether they do the inspections, whether we've done an inspection or not, maybe the buyers elected to do their own inspections, and it comes out fine, and they're like happy with the inspection report. Day 10 happens.
Right. Okay. So let me add a little bit. If your lender is really good at what they do, at what they're doing, I usually get a heads up that an appraiser will actually do the appraisal within 3 days after after day 1.
Okay, perfect. But let's just stick to the inspection period. So
Okay.
day 10 happened, and Mike is going to send in a contingency removal for the
Right.
inspection.
Okay. So the contingency removal, first of all, it's my agent will tell me it's time to remove one of the contingencies, right? So we already did the inspection, so we send in the contingency removal for just the inspection.
Yeah, and by day 10, if they don't remove it, again, that's a red flag, right? So remember, the contract has these stipulations in there, right? There's these contractual dates that are in there. If they don't meet these dates, this is where my agent has to act and maybe serve them a notice, or maybe go find out like, hey, what's going on? What's happening with it? This is what I was talking about, that sometimes, transactions can take longer, right? Maybe they couldn't find an inspection company or something to do the inspection in a timely manner, right? So things will happen, but you got to stay on top of it, right? As a seller, you have to be in constant contact with your agent, especially if your agent is like
Sleeping.
missing in action.
So it happens.
Yeah, shit will happen. Trust me.
Okay, so getting back to again the 10 days prior to the end of the number 10 day, the appraisal report needs to be done.
Your appraisal gets ordered.
My appraisal gets ordered.
Yeah.
Usually it takes 2 days or 3
Yeah.
days. It comes back to me
Yeah.
to the agent, and then I get to see it as the
Buyer's agent.
buyer's agent.
Right. Buyers and buyer's agent see it, and your lender sees it. The seller will not have it unless there's a cancellation or something. Like, let's say if the appraisal comes in lower, then the seller can demand your report. Otherwise, the seller is not privy to the appraisal report.
But my agent will tell your agent that it didn't appraise.
That's right. Yeah, they can let us know. So yeah, so going back to appraisal. So in our contract, we said 15 days the appraisal needs to be removed, right? So appraisal gets done. Let's assume that comes in lower. let's say that this transaction was based on a $800,000, and let's say the appraisal came in at 750, right? Let's assume that for a second.
Are we going to talk about this too?
Yeah, just
Okay.
a quick one.
Okay.
And then if the appraisal report comes in lower, the buyer's agent is going to call my agent as a seller's agent and let me know, like, hey, appraisal came in lower. We need to negotiate at the end of the day. Can your seller come down $25,000 or not? Right?
Right.
That's negotiations that the agents will have to do for both buyer and seller. Now, if I as a seller and say, screw that, fuck that.
Yeah, because your appraisal came in.
Yeah, I'm not selling my property for $775,000. I want 800 grand.
And I agreed to 800 grand.
And you agreed to 800 grand, right?
Right.
Then that there is a cause for cancellation, right? Which you can do, but it depends on the market conditions, right? If you're in a hot market, that's okay. Of course, you can get another buyer, right? But if you in a sort of a different market where buyers have a lot more inventory, then they can walk and find another property.
Because it didn't appraise.
Yeah, because it didn't appraise. A lender will want an appraisal report. Unless you're putting down, I don't know, 50, 60%, 70%, they can waive an appraisal report from the buyer's perspective. But if you're putting down like 10%, 20% or something, lender's going to want an appraisal of the property because they want to make sure that the money that they're lending is being secured by the property's value. Okay?
Right.
So let's say 15 days pass, the appraisal is cleared. They came in at $800,000. Mike sends in a removal. I accept it. Boom.
The contingency removal for the appraisal.
Right. That's right. So now the last thing left is the loan.
Right.
The loan needs to be removed at the same time on the 15-day. Let's say it takes another day longer because some condition wasn't met on the lender side.
Right. So what happens? I need to send in an extension.
Right. So let's say it goes to a 16-day. Mike sends an extension for a day or two. Like, hey, we need an extra day or two to remove the loan contingency. I, as my agent gets the extension. I sign it, saying that's fine, that's okay. As long as we can close still by the 25 days, I don't care, right? So now let's just assume that the last condition on your side is met, and the file moves clear to close, basically.
Right. It goes to the underwriters.
Yeah. It goes to underwriter. Then you get a notification that it's clear to close.
Right.
The loan officer on the other side does.
Right.
And then escrow will be
contacting all parties.
Yeah, escrow will get the docs. They'll prepare the docs. They'll speak with the lender. They'll get the buyer side docs ready. They'll speak with my side of the agent. And for my closing costs and things like that. That's what the escrow's job is going to be, right? To get all that ready from my side as well, too, from the seller side.
Right. They'll have an estimated cost.
Yep. Estimated cost for both the seller and the buyers. Correct. Each agent will receive their things, and then the escrow will ask us to ask the buyer and seller to sign closing documents, right? Which needs to be what? A couple of days before.
Usually 2 days before.
Yeah.
2 days.
2-3 days before.
Because when you think about once the docs goes to escrow, and they got to look at it, which takes them like half a day. Okay.
Yeah, they got to make sure everything is correct.
Right, and then they'll make appointments for both parties to sign. That will take about a day. So and then the funds need to come in.
Yep.
Once the funds come in, then it's funded.
Yep.
Ready to close.
That's right. So it's a rigorous process, but there's a lot that goes on the escrow side. I mean, they do a lot of work for the amount of fee that they charge.
I have to say. We usually have certain escrow companies we work with, right?
Yeah. And
because they're capable, and Palm just said it right, for the amount of work that they do, they don't charge a lot for what they do.
Yeah.
But their usefulness is so important because they make sure everything is accurate and fair.
Yeah, because remember,
according to the contract.
Yeah, because remember when the loan docs come out, there's going to be a closing date on them, and they have to
push it out.
Move everything to get signatures done, submit that file back to the buyer's lender for the buyer's lender to fund the loan.
Right.
Make sure everything's accurate from the seller side, so it's already ready to be closed and funds need to be dispersed.
Because there's money involved.
There's money involved. Right? This is why you have a third-party company handling all this, right? Because this is why it's not done between
so there's no trickery around.
That's right. So last bit of it is so funds come in, and our agents both get an email saying funds came in. We're going to record this afternoon, and as soon as you get the recording notification that's been recorded with the county, this is when the keys exchange hands.
The recording is done online. Gone are the days that we physically have to go there.
Yeah,
So within an hour, once you get your
couple hours.
Yeah, you sign in and record it. We get our emails, and then I get the keys from Parm, and
yeah, my agent will handle the keys and stuff. There's not a lot of that. The buyers and sellers don't directly talk to each other. This is why, because remember, you have your agents in place who are the intermediate, for us to be talking for us, right? And it's important, right? Because sometimes we could say things that might not be good for the transaction, right? So this is why I highly recommend finding a competent agent, someone that kind of done this before. This is not their first rodeo, especially if you're on the seller side. Right. So yeah, that's pretty much a 30-day transaction, or sorry, 25 days, right. 25-day transaction. And there's going to be other things that may come up. There's going to be issues that might come up, and which can delay the closing, right, even longer. Sometimes, I don't know. Sometimes buyer side can make a mistake that can cause the transaction delay. There's all kinds of stuff, and I don't even want to get into that.
Every transaction that we have gone through
is unique.
It's never the same. Yeah. Not one. Every agent will tell you, never one transaction is the same as the other.
No, absolutely. So we've got a brief little guide down there. So click the link and download that. And if you have any questions, please reach out. Let us know or comment below.